Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to do a not really a tier list, but like best characters in each class. But it's going to be a free-to-play version. It's going to be characters from the common pool, and it's going to be based on rift raids. So this is really to kind of help you direct focus in who you want to kind of level up. Obviously, astralin characters is very difficult in this game, but if you're going to get those choice crystals, you'll kind of have an idea of who to choose from them. So we're going to go through the top 5 in each class, starting with the supports here. First character is going to be this guy here. It's going to be Hero Hamada. He's one of my top characters, and he's just ridiculously good. It's got a lot to do with this signature ability, this nearly 40% attack buff for each ally he's connected to, plus some of his talents. Hero just buffs the team insanely. He's not really there for his healing as much. He can heal, it's not a great heal, but his buffing ability is mega, and pair this with kind of any melee or ranged and he's going to really take them to the next level. He's also going to help you massively with the timer as you progress through these rift tiers. So here is my first pick. Next pick, we've got Scrooge. So Scrooge is another one of these amazing buffing characters. He's quite a big damage dealer as well. He can knock back on his specials, and he gives so many focus buffs. Once he stacks up his coins and then uses them on his special, he's going to give a ton of focus buffs, which is going to work really well with melees or range characters that can do a lot of critical damage and have high crit chance anyway. They're going to be critting all the time. So Scrooge is another one. His healing is okay. It's not amazing, but the main thing about his healing is it's like immediate. So Scrooge is the next pick. Then we've got Tiana next. So Tiana as another amazing character. Her stock has risen quite considerably, I'd say, with these new Stormborn elementals, this new version of the map that we're going to be getting. She can cleanse a lot. This special ability is what makes her really shine. She basically grants allies 1 cleanse buff, so effectively, you know, if you're going to get stunned, she's going to be able to cleanse your allies from that stun, which is really important against these new Stormborn. So Tiana, amazing healing as well. She does a little bit of burn damage, and she's just a fantastic character in my opinion. Then next up, we're going to have Evil Queen. Now, Evil Queen has an amazing kit, super interesting. She basically has the best healing if she can stack up Heartsbane charges. So I'll show you what they are. So when Evil Queen inflicts a target with poison, they're inflicted with a Heartsbane charge, and they stack to 10. Once she's got 10 of these, her healing is just ridiculous. It's so good. It basically makes it very difficult for you to die. And on top of that, her talents really interlink with these Heartsbane charges as well. She inflicts an attack buff on this ability. She inflicts defense debuffs on this one. And then the main one, which is the amazing one, is this dizzy debuff, which means that characters basically miss you. This is so clutch in so many situations. I can't tell you how good this is. She also poisons as well on her special, so the poison is amazing, and yeah, she's just a great character. A lot of survivability with her. Great for your team, really. Okay, moving on. Last but not least, we've got Mike. Now, Mike is super underrated in my opinion. His core ability heals. He also gives an attack buff when allies gain armor. He's going to give armor all the time to allies, so he's going to give them an attack buff from his core ability. He's also going to give them an attack buff from his basic talent, the basic attack talent, which you want to equip. So he's going to give a 5% attack buff when it's maxed out. And then lastly, it's his signature ability. It's this, he grants, well, I've obviously not got mine very maxed out, but he grants 5% to all attributes for all allies whilst he's in the encounter. So he's just really buffing your team. Amazing character. Moving on to the melees. Okay, so first, I'm slightly biased in this one, but first combo melee that I would suggest is investing in is Ariel. She can just do anything. Great special ability. She can cleanse, which is going to be great against these new Stormborn characters. I guess she's actually one of the least usable in Rift Raids, but when she can be used, I would suggest using her. I have a lot of videos where I use Ariel, and there's a reason why. She's just very, very good. She can do everything, to be honest. Gets a lot of attack buffs. She's great against the Gatekeeper. Definitely a pick in my top 5. Next up, we're gonna have Mulan, another character. Like, who'd have thought I'd put her on this list? But I definitely overlooked Mulan's usefulness. I think Kabam quite clever, actually, in terms of getting the best out of her for this Rift Raid. Her Sentinel on map 3, Mulan, is pretty much key to soloing it. So she's really good against the Gatekeeper as well. So, those spinny swords do a lot of damage. She can surge down the Gatekeeper fast. So another solid pick for this top 5. And then we're going to have Anna. Now, Anna's basically built for Rift Raid. She has a lot of talents in her kit, which are specific to Rift Raids. So I'll show you. She's got this talent here where she resists like Titanborn damage. And she also does like extra damage against Titanborn, which just makes her very, very solid. She's very, very survivable. Does a lot of damage as well. You can build up her attack buffs. We have a couple of players in my club with really, really high level Annas, and they love her. So definitely a pick for my top 5. Stitch. Stitch is basically the most used character in Rift Raid, and he's actually a really, really good character. He can do so much damage. He's pretty much vital for some Sentinels. For example, Wally, Stitch on map 3. Those two must be used. He's used for a lot of minions. My Rift Raid series from myself and clubmates is going to show a lot of Stitch, so look out for that. But a fantastic character. Once he goes Molten, he's going to do tons of burn damage. He can go Metallic and be immune to wound. He can also give himself armor. Yeah, Stitch easily. And then lastly, we're going to have Scar. Scar's another one who's just got so much use. He can be used in tons of different places, in kind of clutch places as well. He is a bit of a glass cannon, does a ton of damage, but can't really take a hit. So I'm going to say you're going to need to be quite skilled to play Scar in Rift Raids. But if you can play him right, he is a phenomenal character. And super useful in certain spaces where you don't have many options. We've got the range class now. We're going to start with Maleficent. So Maleficent is just an amazing character. She does a ton of burn damage. She stacks defense down. So there's going to be a bit of a theme with a couple of these range characters. But Maleficent, for one, she stacks a number of defense downs and does burn damage on top of that. So she can basically do more damage as the battle goes on, as long as she's critting and getting those defense down. And she also does like sustainable damage through those burns, through those damage over time. She also shocks as well. So Maleficent. Eve, another one. She's just used quite a lot, to be honest, in Rift Raids, and she's just a decent ranged character. If you can stack shocks, her special hits massive amounts if you can stack shocks. And she also has a shock shield as well, so if she gets hit by melees, she does a little bit of damage. She's got a lot of uses, especially on map 3, and I use her on the Gatekeeper on map 1. So yeah, Eve, definitely. Buzz next up. So Buzz is amazing for his soloing ability. He basically gives himself a bunch of defense buffs, and when he uses his special, he has some armor gain, and his armor gain goes through the roof once he stacks these defense buffs. So he's super survivable. He also shocks, does like a lot of damage, and he's just one of the easier characters to kind of kite around with and solo. He can definitely solo Gaston on map 1, and yeah, he's just very durable, very solid character. Next up, we've got Judy. Now, Judy is amazing. She also stacks these defense downs like Maleficent does. She can give herself a ton of focus buffs as well based on her talent, so she crits more, and her root is just really useful. An amazing root that she roots a massive circle as well, lots of characters, and then you can kind of just go to town doing damage with her. Very underrated, I think, for a while, and now getting the love she deserves. Very solid character. And then lastly, I'm going to put Cruella on this list. I'm sorry, there are people who are going to be annoyed with this because I haven't put Gaston, but I just don't rate Gaston, if I'm being honest. And I think Cruella satisfies some niches that you almost just have to have her on that Maleficent node. You basically need her alongside Zerg. Now obviously Zerg is pay to win, but she does have some uses elsewhere. She can stack these dizzies, and she's got a unique kit, so I'd say it's a close one kind of between Cruella and Gaston. I could put Gaston on here as well, and that's given him an honourable mention for this list. But yeah, I just think Cruella probably just gives me a little bit more. Most of the time when I can use Gaston, I'm using someone else like Maleficent, because I just prefer her. So that's the ranged. So moving on to the tanks, we have got, first one is going to be Wally. Wally is just the best tank in the game, in my opinion. He gets a lot of defense buffs. He converts that to armor. He can do that for your team as well. So he gives himself and the team tons of survivability, and he's very useful in Rift Raids. He's kind of used everywhere. So where you can use him, you probably want to, unless you're going to choose Genie over him. But Wally, amazing tank. Pretty much mandatory for some fights, I'd say, especially Stitch on map 3. Then we move on to Mr. Incredible, who is just incredible. He is actually he's basically like a melee, but a melee that gives himself armor and a decent amount of armor, and has so much crowd control. He's got a unique ability that when he's got his kinetic charges, he can effectively heavy bosses and knock them back, which is really unique and amazing for crowd control. It's super important against Hades on map 3. I'd say, yeah, he also has so much use in Rift Raids. Really important battles, important Sentinel battles that you can get some use out of Mr. Incredible. So definitely him. Genie is just a fantastic tank, best minion tank in the game easily. He hits his thresholds, he gives invulnerable to the team, so you can basically buy time to do all the damage you need to do to clear all the minions, and then get yourself down to that last minion boss, and focus them down with your characters, not having to worry about all of the other minions in the encounter because you've cleared them, because he's giving you the time. So he's just amazing at buying time. And he gives armor to your team once he hits these thresholds as well. I can't rate him high enough, really. And then next up, we got Oogie. Oogie is, another one of these tanks. I think he's one of the most used characters in Rift Raids. I think he's the second most used character in Rift Raids behind Stitch. So he can be used kind of everywhere, and he actually is a really decent tank. Unfortunately, he doesn't give himself armor, but if he gets hit enough, he can send out his bugs and stun everyone. He's got a nice special, very kind of durable. He's okay at buying time, but importantly, he is so used and important to some battles. For example, against Maleficent, you have to use him. Against Zerg, you have to use him. He's super valuable, and for that reason, he's easily in my top 5. And then lastly, this is kind of difficult, this last choice, really, and it's going to be based on this row. I would probably say if you've got a very good Sully, I would use Sully a lot in Rift Raids. So the great thing about Sully is when a character drops below 20% health, he gains a taunt for the rest of the encounter. So imagine that, these thresholds get hit, and then you're controlling Sully. You can dodge, you can get out of the way, whilst your other characters in battle are safe. So your other support, your range, whatever you're using, won't get hit because they're going after Sully because he's got the taunt. So it's a high skill character, I'd say, But if you've got a very good Sully, he's very solid and worthy of his spot. I will say this. These last, these other 3 characters on this row, ignore Ursula, but Maui, Baloo, and Baymax are all very, very solid as well. It's kind of, you're very spoilt for choice with tanks, if I'm being honest. The tanks in this game are really, really solid. Anyway, guys, just thought I would do that. I'm going to wrap up the video now. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope this helps free-to-play players focus on the best common pool characters, I'd say, for Rift Raids. In my opinion, Rift Raids is the best mode in the game, the most fun, so that's why I'm doing it. There might be a slight change to this if this was like a general tier list, or we're looking at all game modes, but I'm focusing on Rift Raids here. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Please like and subscribe for more content like this. Give me a thumbs up, I really do appreciate it. I'll see you in the next one.